Well, hey everybody, welcome to Community. I am so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you are getting to hang out with all the people who are in the room with you. And I'm so glad to get to just be able to spend a few minutes with you. Hopefully, we have had the chance to meet at some point before, but if not, my name is Ryan. I'm one of the pastors on staff at New City, and I genuinely can't believe that I get to be a part of what God is doing here in this community and in the city of Austin as a whole. But I'll tell you one more thing about me just as we get going tonight. It's going to sound like a little bit of a flex at first, but I'll clarify. I played football in college. Now, here's the clarifier. It was a very small school. It was a Division II school in Arkansas, and I'm also using the term play very loosely. I was on the team, okay? So there's the clarifiers. But during the very last game of my senior year, we're playing against a big rival. It was the second quarter. We're tied up, close game. I'm playing wide receiver, and I'm blocking for our running back. And as he's getting tackled, he actually slides into the side of my leg, and I immediately was like, oh, something really, really bad just happened. So long story short, I get in the ambulance, they take me to the hospital, and I find out that my ankle is dislocated and my leg is broken. So they do surgery to put it back in place, to put what was broken back together, and we ended up losing the game, by the way. So this didn't end up well for anybody. But here's the point of me telling you that story. After I got to the hospital, when the doctor came in, he put the x-rays up on the wall, and in effect he said, if you're gonna be able to function in a healthy way moving forward, we're gonna have to put what was broken back in place so that you can heal. I think we all understand that physically, that in order to heal, you've got to acknowledge the hurt. So we're talking a lot about community, how to do life with other people. And for many of us, I think we want that. We desire to experience it. But anytime that we think about actually stepping into community, the only thing that we can think about is the pain that community has caused us in the past. It could be that person that you let in on a vulnerable part of your life and they broke your trust. Could be somebody who betrayed you. It could be someone who hid something from you. It could be somebody who abandoned you. It could be somebody who forgot you. These are all these painful relational experiences that we've had in the past, and maybe for many of you, it's something that I didn't even just list off, but you've got something in your mind in this way that you've experienced relational hurt. And when we experience hurt like that, our tendency typically is to either isolate ourselves, to stay away from community, or we could have the tendency to step into community, but to do so in a way where we don't allow ourselves to actually be known. So I just want to acknowledge, first of all, that the pain that you have experienced is very real. And because the pain that you've experienced is very real, those responses, whatever your response may be, the response is very understandable. But here's the reason that I want to encourage you to lean into what God has to say. It's because, as one Christian author says, what you don't transform, you transmit. In other words, that unresolved and unhealed pain unintentionally gets pushed onto other people in our lives. So we need to heal. So what do you do to actually experience that type of healing in your own life? Well, actually, to experience the healing God has for you, you can't start with what you need to do. You've got to start with what Jesus has already done for you. This is the unique thing about Jesus. He's not distant from your hurt. He's not distant from your pain. Jesus knows what it's like to be hurt and betrayed and forgotten and abandoned and alone. He knows what it's like to be you and to go through the hurt that you've experienced. And here's what he says to you now. This is from a book called Hebrews, chapter 4, verses 15 and 16. It says, "For we do not have a high priest who is unable to empathize with our weaknesses." That's talking about Jesus, by the way. "But we have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, yet he did not sin. So let us then approach God's throne of grace with confidence, so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need." So the invitation that Jesus is giving you, the invitation he's giving to all of us, is to bring that hurt that you've experienced to him. Not to avoid it, not to gloss over it, not to act like everything is okay, but to bring that hurt to the one who knows what you're going through and empathizes with you in the midst of it. And you know what he does? He listens to you. He weeps with you. He's present with you. And slowly but surely, he starts to put what was broken back in place. That's actually not the end of what the Bible has to say about it. He puts what was broken back in place, but then he also puts you in a community of people where healing can actually happen. Look at this picture that an early follower of Jesus named Paul used to describe it. This comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 12. It says, "Just as a body, though one, has many parts, but all its parts form one body, so it is with Christ. For we were all baptized by one Spirit, so as to form one body, whether Jews or Gentiles, slave or free. And we were all given the one Spirit to drink. Even so, the body is made up of not of one part, but of many." So the picture that Paul gives to describe this community that Jesus is bringing together is the picture of the human body. I wish we had time just to sit and think about what a miracle the human body is. But for now, I'll just tell you that one of the most miraculous things about the human body is its ability to heal itself. Like when you get a cut, your body immediately starts this elaborate process of beginning to heal that cut. When you go to sleep every night, without you even realizing it, your body is repairing tissue and your brain is getting rid of things that it doesn't need. When you break a bone, like I did in the story that I was telling you earlier, your body immediately starts producing new cells to heal that damage. And in many cases, that bone that was broken ends up even stronger than it was before. So to come back to that story that I shared with you at the beginning, I needed a doctor to put what was broken back in place. And once he did that, my body slowly but surely over a long period of time and through a lot of painful moments started to actually heal what had been broken. And I want you to know tonight that Jesus is like a doctor who puts that hurt back in place, but then he also puts you in a community of people, in his body, this community called the church. And it's through that community that he actually begins to heal you. So here's the point that we've been getting at all night tonight. Relational hurt is only healed in relational health. It's not instant, takes time, it's painful, but healing only happens when you stay connected to the body. In that passage I just read, Paul ends by saying that this is what that community can look like. If one part suffers, every part suffers with it. If one part is honored, every part rejoices with it. So let me just ask you, can you imagine being a part of a community like that? Can you imagine how much healing could happen in a group of people who are willing to stick with each other through the hard stuff and who are willing to be there to celebrate with each other in the midst of the joyful stuff? I don't know about you, but I want to be a part of a community like that. And I think there are a lot of hurting people around us who also would love to be a part of a community like that. So I know that in this community, there are probably people who are all over the map when it comes to the hurt that you've experienced in relationships at different points in your past. But here's the invitation for you tonight. Don't let past relational hurt rob you of present and future relational healing. Don't let past relational hurt rob you of present and future relational healing. I know that this can be a heavy topic, so I just want to give you some time and give you some space. There are going to be some questions that come up on the screen. I just want to invite you to think about them, to talk about them together as a community, and to take whatever the next step is for you in order to experience the healing that Jesus can offer you. So we love you guys. We're grateful for you taking the time to be here tonight. We're cheering you on, and we hope you have a great rest of the night together.